Hello guys, let me introduce myself. My name is Rifki Juniar Widianto and I am an international relations student. Today I would like to present to you guys about the two mainstream perspective or theory of international relations student, which was liberal versus realist perspective or liberal versus realist theory. This presentation or video presentation is meant for the task for XL future leader of FSF OKM. Okay, firstly, we're going to talk about the liberal perspective of in international relations study. Okay, liberalism or pluralism, if you guys know this terminology, which or liberalism or pluralism, it's the same concept. Okay, from a liberal perspective, international relation is not only about the state relation. So there is the liberal perspective. It doesn't see the perspective of international relation between the actors is just the state-state relation or dominated by the state-state relation, but there is an actor, there is an much actor between only state and state relation. It is about a transnational relation that means relation between people, group, community, organization, society from different countries, even a business. So it's not just the state-state relation, but there is much emerging actors in liberalism perspective that uh, considered as an international relation dynamic. Okay, due to this emphasis on society, the emergence of new actor itself, state and many different actors, namely people, individual, like Greta Thunberg, it can be also considered it uh, international relations because she is have a power to uh, to speak up in a international level. Liberalism is also called pluralism because it is stated that liberalism is plural, like so many actors in there and so many actors from a different kind of uh, actors, not only state. Okay, the basic concept and issues are liberal focus on norms and regimes, economic interdependence, and international organization because they believe that this kind of concept, norms, regimes, economic interdependence, international organization, makes the world in a peace level or in a peace situation because they are uh, they have norms that they are regulated with it. They have regimes that they are um, bound. They have economic interdependence between actors and actors or actor to actor, not only state. And they have international organization. This is focuses on state to gather their information, to gather their knowledge issues in international organization. No distinct between uh, they they put it like two issues, which was the high politics. It's high level relation between states. So high politics is mostly talking about states and state business. And low politics is internal socio-economic issues. There are individual, society, community, groups of interest, and many more. Issue of terrorism, drug trafficking, human rights, environment, technology, and finance are also an important issue as security issue itself. So they put the security issue same level with the terrorism, drug trafficking, human rights, environment, and etc. The liberalism key assumption first by Robert Cohen and Joseph Nye, Power and Interdependence World Politics in Transition in 1977. States are not the only important actors in world politics. This is what liberalism believe. Non-state actors are also important in entities in international relation that cannot be ignored, or they have power too, and they have their interest to do something in international level. So they are count. International organization or IOs can be independent actors in their own right because it's not guided, or it's not the movement of international organization. It's not um, you know like guided by the state, but they can be an individual actor or independent actors in their own right. The organization own decision makers. Bureaucrats have considerable influence in agenda setting because they have power, namely determining which issues are most important politically. IOs are more than simply arenas. It's not just arena of a state to do something in there with their belief, with their interests, within which sovereign states compete. Moreover, this one multinational corporation is also uh, an important actor uh, by their assumption, by their perspective, like Toyota, Honda, Ford, and many multinational corporations, Philips, General Motor, and any multinational corporation, Unilever also. The second assumption, liberals, state is not an unitary actor. State is composed by individual bureaucratic interest groups that I said before, and individuals that attempt to influence the foreign policy because they have interest in it. When the foreign policy of the states is declared by the state itself, they are in it, they are in the state, so they have interest to change the foreign policy of the state itself. There may be competition, coalition, conflict, compromise among these actors. So it's not just compromise and peace. Also, there are competition, coalition, and conflict between these actors to attempt influence foreign policy of a state itself. To speak of a foreign policy of Turkey, US, or UK means that foreign policy decisions were determined by competition among a number of actors, a number of group interests, a number of individuals that can be determine the foreign policy decision in the Turkey, US, UK, or even in Indonesia. Foreign policy preference reflect the multiple actors within the state. So foreign policy of a state is formed by not only by the bureaucrats or bureaucrats in the state itself, but also the society, individual, and etc. The third assumption, states may not be rational actors. They may not be a rational actors. A particular policy may be suggested just because it serves bureaucratic power or prestige of certain groups. So state it's not always a rational actors. State can be have a behavior, have a foreign policy because of the bureaucratic power or prestige of certain groups. So it's biased. The foreign policy is biased because of the group of interests that have more power than the others. Moreover, misperception of decision makers as a result of incomplete information, bias, like I said, and uncertainty is also key focus of attention for liberal scholars. That's why it is very important for a liberal academia or liberal scholars to see the misperception of decision makers itself in this liberal perspective. The fourth assumption of liberal, they reject the idea that the agenda of international politics dominated primarily by military security issues, because They believe that the issue, it's not just the military security issues. They believe in environmental issues, in law politics. In law politics, there are environmental issues, business, economics, not just military and security issues. For them, the agenda of international politics is extensive and diversified. It's diverse, and economic and social are often at the forefront of foreign policy debates. So, economic and social issues are also uh, they have place in foreign policy debates, and it can be uh, it can be issues that can be updated in international level. The problems of energy, natural resources, environment, pollution, it's also as important as military security issues. The fifth assumption of liberalism, there are important linkage between domestic structure and processes and international politics. So in international politics, states are represented by the bureaucratic or in the domestic structure. They believe that um, this is linkage. If the states have bad democratic domestic structures of democracy, it is also they have a bad foreign policy or international politics also. So, but when a state have a good domestic structures, they have a good democracy, uh, they have a new or non-corruptive uh, domestic structure. It also they have a will have a best international politics. The international system is not completely anarchic or anarchy. Some domain of international relation are characterized by the international regime. So cooperation between state and state can be achieved. It's not anarchy, or anarchy means that in international level, there are no a higher um, power than the state. It's not completely anarchic because international regimes can determine the state's behavior. Okay, let's go to the realist perspective of international relation. The first assumption is states are the principal actor. This is the difference between the liberal perspective and the realist perspective. The realist perspective believe that states are the principal actors. It's dominated by states, and states are the dominant actor and most important actor. States are the key unit of analysis. So when we talk about international relation in realist assumption, this is the key unit of analysis. The study of international relation is study of relation among these units, among these states, states between states. Only the states possesses the monopoly of legitimate force to resolve conflicts between individuals and groups within its territory, and also between itself and other states and international actors. So what is called that state have power is the state that can monopoly of legitimate force to resolve conflicts. States also viewed as unitary actor. They have their own legitimate. For realistic, a country face the outside world as an integrated unit. Political differences within the states are ultimately resolved, namely with governments speak with one voice. So one voice, one state, one government, one voice for the state as a whole. So government speak as the representation of a state. There are no room for individuals. There are no room for group interests. They didn't believe that because the state is the unitary actor. State as unitary actor has one policy. State is an integrated actor. So what we call it society, what we call it group of interest, individual like Greta Thunberg, because she is have a power. The realist perspective doesn't believe that. Greta Thunberg is part of USA, namely. So the USA speak that it's the representation of Greta Thunberg too, not Greta Thunberg herself. Still, the second assumption, states have sufficient autonomy from their national societies to recognize and pursue the interests of the nation as a whole. When we talk about the realists, we know that the state is the most powerful actor. So the autonomy or the interest in a society and in a community is represented by what states say, not just those of particular powerful groups. Decision makers in a state respond on behalf of the nation state to the opportunity and dangers endangered by the international system. The third assumption, state is a rational actor. It's different too. In a liberal perspective, state is not always in a rational actor, but in a realist, state is always a rational actor. States are goal-oriented and their goals are consistent. They're always consistent, no matter how the domestic change, this domestic structure, we say that in a liberal perspective, the domestic structure like partai or a group interest, it's always consistent no matter what. Also, states are assumed to derive strategies to achieve their goals and they are cost sensitive. They make cost benefit analysis. So what when we attack when you, I will give the example. When USA attack Afghanistan, what is the cost? How much the cost? The cost. How much the benefit when we uh, take this cost? It has to be more. It has to be more beneficial than the cost. So state is a cost benefit analysis. They do that in a realist assumption. State as rational actor. A state are rational and define their interests in terms of their power. They have power and standard manner. Based on the rationality assumption, international system is composed of states that have the same patterns of behavior. They have the same pattern of behavior. They are real. They are rational. They have their interests. For assumption, the context of action, the anarchy. Different with the liberal, war is not always anarchy, but realists say that wars are always in anarchy. Refers to the absence of centralized authority to protect states from one another. There is no um, one entity above the state. When we talk about the liberal perspective, there are one entities that can make the behavior of state, which was the international organization. In here, international organization are not um, the focus of the discussion or focus of the actors. So each state has their survive on its own. They will do what they can to survive, to to survive in each other states. Thus, states are by definition self-help agent. They are self-help. There is no one will save them. There are no cooperation. They believe that the competition always in a states between states. They assume that within the hierarchy of international relation issues, national security or military security issue are the top of the list of the issue. There are, they say that For them, military and related political issues dominate world politics. There are no room for environmental, there are no room for um, social, cultural, and that's it. That's the second, that's the two mainstream perspective of in international relation between liberal perspective and realist perspective. Thank you very much.